Hey, cornbread review off the bat, bro. You might not like my review there, man. Yeah, so all in all, man, I ended up coming up 2.5 out of 5. Two of them things. Yo. 5 out of 5 cornbreads for the cornbread review. What you think? Yo, welcome back for another episode of Cornbread Movie Review. My name's Cornbread. Hey, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. I'm here every week giving you episodes on TV shows, movie reviews, dropping random clips here and there. So make sure y'all follow me. But today I also got a guest coming back. It's like family every week.
Yes, sir. Always.
Great. What up, man? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I've been doing well, man. But appreciate you for always letting me come back. And
yeah, man. They hate us, man. They hate it.
hey, love it though. Love it.
How can people reach you, man?
As always, Urbana Ghost on Instagram.
I like it. So today we are talking about the third episode. Trey, that's you. Third episode. Third episode of We Need to Talk About Cosby. Come on, man. We if you haven't seen our first two reviews, make sure you double back and watch those. And we discussing each week as it goes along. So this ain't episode 4. This ain't episode 1. This is episode 3. Housekeeping rules. This episode was about a minute longer, so it's about 58 minutes in this episode. It's also on Showtime and Hulu. So if you have those two different streaming services or programs, check that out. It's a 4-part series, like I said. It's TVMA. So make sure you do not watch this with no kids, all adults. And it's even as an adult, it's hard to watch some of these episodes, man. It's difficult.
This one was really difficult for me. Like I was saying, like when you were saying that at the first few episodes, I feel it though.
Yeah, it is, man. And it's also narrated by W. Kamal Bell, man. So he actually talked a little bit more in this episode. So I was surprised.
Yeah, he did.
That, man. I think based off of the first 2 episodes, we were like, hey, we're waiting for the Cosby information and are they going to bring us up to speed? So the third episode discussed a lot of the Cosby stuff, from 1990, basically the Cosby Show. It opens up with the barbecue scene.
I'm dead serious. Haven't you ever noticed that after one of my barbecues and they have the sauce, people want to get right home?
Hey, you wonder how everybody eat that barbecue sauce and they get a little frisky? You know that? I think as a comedy bit, it was funny at the time. Even if you don't know what's going on and you watch that, it's hilarious. Because at the end, the kid starts eating that barbecue. You're like, oh, I love this. He's like, hey, get that. Hey, what you doing? What you doing? I think as a comedy bit, it's funny, but it's very cringy when you see it on who said it and the history of this man. So what did you think about that Cosby episode with the barbecue sauce?
Matter of fact, like that's one of the first ones I do remember, whether it be I've watched it when I was that young or, it already came on in syndication. But that scene was all, I was like, man, what? They put some alcohol in it? That's me being not knowing kid, it wasn't alcohol, but yeah. And then it hit me at the end because they didn't let the kids eat it or whatever. So that's why I was like, But yeah, looking back on that, like they said, that's kind of cringy, man. It was funny at the time because I was a little kid and I really didn't know.
Right.
But just looking at that, though, it's a little hard to watch.
Absolutely. Especially an aphrodisiac in barbecue sauce. Come on, bro.
Man, but yeah, Miss Huskable was on it, though, too. And it's
she was.
That's the weird, it's kind of funny. And it goes into their more wife dynamic, too, but we'll go on.
Right. Yeah, we'll get into that. After that scene, they go into, we discussed them on episode 2, of the dynamic of African Americans at this time. So 1984, this is when African Americans are booming, right? They on all TV shows, athletes, acting, getting wealth, millionaires. So there's a boom for that. But also don't forget about the slums, bro. We have people who are in poverty at this time, growing up without their fathers. The crack epidemic there, racially profiled, even though it's been happening for years and years and years. But I was happy to see that dynamic was not forgotten about at that time, even though Bill Cosby was on the up, Black people as a whole are on the down, man. So take me back to that time of the 80s and 90s on kind of what you remember around that.
Just obviously you can't talk about the 80s without Reaganomics and all that stuff too. So, and it showed that with the like they were saying, there was two different trajectories of Black people. Either it was over here or it was straight down here, and there was nobody like really in the middle. Right. So it's like seeing that, and then him being able to, like, I feel like back in the like first 2 episodes, he was more fighting for those people. But when he was going up, like those people kind of that were lower economic status or whatever and in the drugs and stuff, he was going away from. Mm-hmm. Like the old Cosby, I was thinking he was more of helping those type of people, you know, helping the Black, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of an interesting dynamic to see that. But yeah, that's what I thought about that seeing then how he was rising at that time, and then seeing the contrast to how bad it could have got or how bad it was.
Absolutely. And one thing I noticed with the Cosby Show, like I said, man, I grew up watching Martin, Fresh Prince, the Wayans Brothers, all these other shows. And they always brought celebrities on, right? Like, I'm like, man, that's cool. They brought Biggie on, Tupac, or, you know, just different celebrities. But the Cosby Show was the first Black show to ever do that. You know what I'm saying? To really dive into the B.B. Kings and other singers and poets and artists like that at that time. So I definitely want to commend the Cosby Show, or I don't even know if that was Cosby's idea, but just setting the precedence of, no, if this is Black excellence, we're going to bring more Black excellent people around, man. So did you kind of notice that was like the first show to kind of introduce those things?
Yeah, definitely. And like they were pointing it out to me a little bit, like the different posters and the different musicians.
Hell yeah.
And then also like Cosby, they said like later on or whatever, they said that he had every control over that. Like there was nothing he didn't touch over that. So I definitely think that might have been his subtle hint to like keep that alive, keep the history alive, Black history alive, and just have it all Afrocentric, like they were saying too. So that was a very nice touch. So, like looking back at that, it's like that's very well placed.
It is.
You see that, like you said, and you see that, like you're saying, like with people coming back or people coming onto the shows. Like a lot of shows now kind of do that too. Like you'll look back, if you look at movies, like we look at movies, you know what I'm saying? You can see in the background of different relevant people of that time.
Right. And different artwork, you know, from Black artists. So that's huge. Even with the spinoff, you know, A Different World, having the spinoff.
That's what I watched.
That's what? Come on, man. That's huge, man. Having the spinoff. And then that's at a made up HBCU, you know what I'm saying? But it's to show that, no, this is even, I think one of the quotes was, A Different World was more Blacker than the Cosby, because it was, you know, it was, no, this is strictly for us, man. So I really want to commend them for that. Another issue though, we talked about what was his job? You know, OBGYN. And then where was his office?
The basement, bro. The basement. Bro, I didn't know. I forgot about that, bro.
What?
Like, that is insane.
Your job, basement. You ain't even got an office. It's at your crib in the basement and you checking out these females. Come on, bro. Like, yeah, man. Who signed off on this? Who signed off on this, man?
Bill, Mr. C, ain't that
yeah. So I think that was really, we captured, let's say, the first 20, 30 minutes of the episode. So I'm like, it's a historic flashback and I love it. I'm happy. I'm like, okay, this is great, because this is stuff that I didn't know or I just forgot about, right? So I'm loving the episode. Then we start the BS, bro. We start the BS. Let's talk about the audience girls. He had a whole little section. Of models.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Hey, all y'all after this, come. My door's always open, but when they show up, let's go. And I think that to me, we're gonna talk about, obviously, like we're probably talking about Hugh Hef. We talked about the R. Kellys, Bill Cosby. To me, it takes a whole village to start running this operation of sexual harassment. You know, that you can't have culture with one person.
The buddy who killed himself, who hung himself, Epstein.
Come on, like Epstein, it's a whole umbrella, bro. I understand that people work with people, kind of like Aaron Hernandez, right? Like you could be his teammate, not know that he's killing people, allegedly, right? But to bring girls to this situation, especially if you heard something like that, then I'm not bringing no more girls. You know what I'm saying? He did what? No, okay, that's dead. You know, and I think they're starting to groom it. I think it's only one person who kind of changed the culture with him, and that was probably Allen Iverson. To me, he kind of changed the whole dynamic of how people wore stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's swagger.
Tattoos and stuff.
Tattoos, yeah. But other than that, it takes more than one person to change a culture. So, all right. So how did you feel about those models going over there? And it was kind of like a grooming session. What did you go in your mind?
Yeah, like you were mentioning, it takes a whole like team to do it. And just, I know people keep saying that like they are feeling like they are getting that short end of the stick that she was saying, like they keep blaming her. But honestly, when you see it that much, like as a good, decent human being, you got to say something or question something,
right?
You know, and I think his one assistant, Scotty or something like that, like, you know, I think was the lady that she was like, I'm gonna be a 6 foot female cop. Yeah. Like I'm gonna be walking the street to beat. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I was weary at first. And that was honestly like the first one. I don't know if actually he's telling it in timeline order or what have you. So I was gonna say that seems like the first one that actually was like, yo, Bill, I'm not about to be on this. Like, what are you doing, bud? She's like, it was weird at the beginning, you know? And that's like the first lady, and I no disrespect to, you know what I'm saying, any of them before or any of the victims previously, because you don't never know how you act in that situation.
Right.
But she was really kind of worried at first, and I'm feeling like Bill's like, oh, and he's getting old, man. Like, you know, old. Come on now, it's 84, bud.
And you met this chick one time, and you said, "This is how we make love." We're giving her a hug, and I was like, "That's wild, bro.
That is wild,
dude." Yeah, it's too many stories of details. Like everybody ain't lying, bro. Come on, everybody's not lying. I also one thing that they brought up, and I've always had in the back of my mind, but I'm like, maybe we'll get to it. Is where's his family at? Like they say, where you ever met his wife? No, I worked with Bill for 20 years. I never met his wife. She showed up at one episode. You know what I'm saying? It's like
20 years.
Where's the support at, I guess, from him? But he had to do that stuff in silence, right? So the magazine. What'd you say?
It's the age of no social media, man.
Yeah. I mean, all these pictures look good with the kids and the wife, but in real life, we ain't seen them on the red carpet. We ain't seen them at the Cosby audience stuff, meeting people, meeting and greeting, stuff like that. So he kept that real hush hush with his family.
Yeah.
And it looked like he had a lot of kids too, man. So it was pretty funny, man.
Yeah, Bill had a lot of kids, man. Like he had about 5 or 6, I think. Or 5, I think. 4 girls and something like that. 5, I think.
We start to see we're progressing through the episode that he gave $20 million to Spelman, right? So first off, he represented a lot of HBCUs in his shows, stand up, all that. So I think that is high quality work that we need to see. We don't even see that now. You know, all the major celebrities, the Kanyes, the Rocks, the Barack Obamas, to all these Kevin Harts, all these high profile people, but they're not really in HBCU stuff. And you got to think Bill Cosby did at that time, but he did that and gave $20 million to Spelman. And I was thinking in my head, why not Morehouse? Or split it up. 10 to Spelman, 10 to Morehouse.
Across the street.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, the skeptics is like, why Spelman? But nonetheless, you also don't want to, somebody say, hey, you want $1 million. And they'd be like, oh, well, I ain't got no car to get there. What? You better find a way to get there. So I don't want to, shit up on his $20 million to Spelman that much. But it was just kind of odd that he would give it to Spelman and then all the other ones he wouldn't give to. But he was on Temple's board and different things like that. And like I said, Different World, 1987. In this episode, the third one, his accusers were a little bit darker this time. Which we discussed, why is it all these white girls that he's doing this on campus? But now he's on his episode. He's getting a little exotic, right? He's getting a little darker, which is unfortunate. Like I said, for anybody to get sexually assaulted or raped or whatever, allegedly, all this stuff, So we talked about that. But The pound cake speech. Well, let's talk about his son first off. Did you know his son got shot in LA?
Yes. I knew his son. I remember like the day and stuff when his son passed away and stuff.
Really? Okay.
You know, like as I said previously, like my parents like loved him. And it was about this time. I'll tell like quick story or whatever. Like that's how I knew about HBCUs, honestly, because he was coming to speak. And then I think my parents went to a lot of the NAACP like teachers things like that. So he was there. They had a picture with him, and he's got like a little Morehouse shirt on, things of that nature. But I was like, that's like that was interesting. Like that night, we were like going to the movie or something, and then he was like, "Yeah, Arnez died," and we were like, "Who is Arnez?" He's like, "That's Bill Cosby's son." So it was like a little morning. Because did you watch the Cosby Show at all? Just like the regular Cosby?
A little bit, but like I said, I was following on other shows.
Yeah, but I think it was off or whatever. And then they showed, and they were like, "Yeah, he was just helping, or he was trying to change a tire, or helping somebody change a tire as a robbery." It was like, don't ever stop on the side of the road type of moment, because you know that was like one of those teaching moments. Like it could happen to anybody, but
especially
it was unfortunate.
And they even said, you know, he stopped production for a week, but then he started making jokes about his son's funeral. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy, dog.
Yeah, people deal with death differently, but it's just I don't know. And I think this point, like I was saying, he was getting old, but also this point hit him too. Like he's like doing, and it's crazy to even think of Bill Cosby like this, but he didn't follow like what he was doing in the first few episodes of like his play on trying to get other women or something like that. It was just like he was getting more angrier and more aggressive, it seemed like.
Especially with the girl arguing with her in front of everybody of say the right line,
and just like manipulating and treating him like I own you mind games, you know?
I agree. And then we also get to which the end of the episode, the pound cake speech. Basically, so for the listeners out there, he was just saying, hey, why are Black people in poverty? Why are Black people committing all these crimes? Why are Black people not educated? Why do you think? You know what I'm saying? Yes, if you made it out, which apparently he didn't graduate all these schools anyway, but he makes millions. So maybe he feels like he's separated from Blackness, right? OJ said, I ain't Black, I'm OJ, right?
I'm OJ.
And I think people start separating themselves just because they have money. Like, no, that's not how this thing worked. And so the pound cake speech was, he said, hey, you know, the Black audience is mad that a cop shot a person stealing pound cake in the head. But I'm going to wonder, why did the Black kid have pound cake anyway?
Right.
But it's like, does it matter? Let's say he did steal it. That's automatic death is the verdict, you know? So that's when we start to see his audience is changing, where the first couple episodes of the majority of his life so far at that time with the 90s, the Black people were riding with him. You know, you are what they say, America's dad. But when you start saying that and you think that you're better than us or different or something like that, that's when now the white Republicans are backing you and not us. So what do you feel about, you know, that the end of the episode with that?
Yeah, so with that, like I was saying at the beginning too, like he started seeing a separation from like Black people, if you will, like the modern Black person, because they were saying like the Huxtables was by no stretch of imagination like a typical Black family or a most popular Black family, what have you. But I was thinking he was playing to a different audience. He had a different play, you know? And he was like, yeah, I got the Black side anyway. Like, this is what I'm thinking he's thinking, but let me try to go this way because like they said, he made NBC, right?
Facts. You know, he said he went from
3 to number 1.
Right.
So he's trying to get this different play. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to smoosh and woosh this person to try to buy this network, because that's what his ultimate goal was. They were saying, you know, he wanted to buy this network. So absolutely, I think he tried to say that, and then it got a little bit out of hand, you know, because like you said, the right wing or what have you ran with it. It was like, you know what I'm saying, they get a little slogan and they will go with it. Like Mitt Romney was there saying like, Cosby said it, shit, hey, hey, you know, like
He even doubled down on Oprah. She was like, "Do you regret that?" He was like, "No, I don't regret nothing."
No. But yeah, and I remember my parents had a picture with him because, you know what I'm saying, he wore those glasses, but like his eyes were like he was having pretty bad eyesight. But it was, yeah. But
I feel
no,
you, man.
That was crazy.
It is, man. That was episode 3. Basically, we covered from beginning to end on what to expect in the 3rd episode. Now, the 4th episode, the series finale, man. What's something that you think is going to happen in this 4th episode?
I think we're going to hear the disposition tapes of what he was saying.
Okay.
Because they just talked about in this last one, wrapping it up, the lady that actually went through and said it, you know, that 2004, I think it was, they finally brought charges to him, but he didn't have to face anything. So I'm thinking we're going to hear that disposition because she's going to like civil sue him or something. And then, I don't know, like maybe what his wife thought, you know, like what. And then obviously the inner feelings of like the community that loved him and the people that knew him and the victims in this whole situation, what they felt when he was finally caught and was actually put behind bars and he had to face justice, or he had to face for his wrongdoings, you know?
I agree with you. I think it's the downfall of him at this point. I think the first 3 episodes are showing the genius of him with creating the Black persona of everybody's not a threat. You know, you can love Black people as well. But then the monster that the episode shows that he is, that, hey, he might be by himself in the next episode. You know, nobody's really backing him other than like a few people, you know. So I'm excited to see it. This episode wasn't as bad to watch because they didn't tell that many stories compared to the first 2, but we'll see where the 4th one leads us, man. Any last words, Trey, for the people out there watching, man?
Not too much, man. Hey, thank you. Keep on liking and subscribing. Like you said, Cornbread doing this thing. So you can find me at Urbana Ghost, and we're going to see this 4th episode, though.
Hey, man, make sure you come back next week. We're going to talk about it, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as always, man. So, Trey, thank you for blessing the Cornbread movie review again. I'll be back next week. Make sure you like and subscribe. Well, I'll let y'all. Peace.
Peace.